The coordinates appeared on a forgotten forum that had no creator and no visible domain. It was buried in the kind of thread where no one ever replies, a digital basement filled with half-coded links and static-soaked avatars. Late at night, when the servers seemed to hum louder than usual, a message surfaced above the rest. Who dares explore the most cursed part of hell? The invitation came with a single attachment unencrypted file marked "Do Not Open Alone." No one knew who uploaded it, but the video preview was a blur of flickering lights and distant screams, and the comment section looked like it had been erased by something that didn't type in human language. Those who watched said they saw their own faces, distorted, whispering words they'd never spoken. The clip lasted 10 seconds before vanishing. A small group of explorers, urban legends, seekers, horror vloggers, people hungry for something unexplainable, took it as a challenge. They called themselves the Boundary Project. They gathered cameras, night vision, drones, thermal scanners, anything to make the unknown measurable. Yet the one thing they couldn't measure was where they were headed. When they reached the location, an endless salt flats scorched by lightning, the air felt static charged, humming like an old television left on mute. A burn sign near a collapsed shack read "End of all roads." Beyond that, the ground was fissured into spiraling cracks that pulsed faint red, like veins under translucent skin. When one of them tossed a stone into the largest fissure, it didn't make a sound when it hit bottom. The horizon trembled. The cameras flickered, and then the ground split open beneath them with a low, dragging moan that didn't sound geological at all. It sounded alive. They fell for a long time, longer than distance should allow, through a shaft of black dust and fragments of rusted metal. When they landed, there was no pain, just stillness. Around them stretched a cavern shaped like a cathedral, but built from bone and broken glass instead of stone. The air was thick, metallic, and faintly sweet, like burnt sugar. Every sound they made returned as an echo that wasn't quite theirs. It lagged, distorted, sometimes finishing sentences they hadn't spoken yet. The youngest explorer, Rami, turned his light toward the wall and froze. Faces were pressed into the surface, eyes moving behind a thin film of translucent mineral, mouths open in perpetual exhalation. The faces followed the light as it moved. When the group stepped forward, the floor beneath them responded with a pulse. One of the cameras began recording on its own, lens focusing on a dark archway ahead. From beyond it came a voice, not loud, not even clear but layered, as if thousands of throats whispered through one mouth. "Keep walking. You're almost in." They hesitated. The air tasted of iron and dust. The lead explorer muttered that it must be an auditory illusion, a trick of frequencies. But when the voice returned, it whispered each of their names perfectly, even the ones never spoken aloud. That was when the first lights began to die one by one, fading not into darkness but into an absence that ate the glow itself. Cameras struggled to recalibrate, but the footage came back inverted white shadows walking through black fire. When they replayed the footage seconds later, their own reflections had disappeared. It was as if hell wasn't a place you entered. It was a lens that erased you as you stared back. The deeper they went, the more time fractured. Watches stopped. Digital counters spun nonsense. At what they thought was the center, a stairway spiraled downward, impossibly narrow, made of charred pages pressed together. Every step produced faint whispers, as if the paper remembered the words that once lived on it. The deeper they descended, the louder it became, until the whispers began forming sentences. Confessions, apologies, frantic prayers in countless languages. The voices begged not for mercy but for memory, pleading not to be forgotten by the world above. When Rami shined his flashlight down the stairwell, it revealed something like an ocean below them, black and rippling, filled not with water but with reflections, faces, hands, the faint suggestion of people floating just beneath the surface. And from those faces rose the same question, whispered in a single breath that seemed to travel through the stone. "Why are you still alive?" The group tried to climb back, but the steps had sealed behind them, replaced by more faces. Panic tore through the silence. Cameras turned themselves off. Drones fell into the Black Sea below, disappearing without a splash. One explorer shouted that this wasn't hell, it was something worse, something that existed before the word hell was even conceived. A place that fed on memory, devouring whatever entered until even the idea of escape was digested into silence. They ran, but every tunnel they found led back to the same pit, the same ocean of whispering reflections, now slightly closer to the surface as if the trapped souls were rising to meet them. When the last light failed, something new began to glow in the distance. A pulsating shimmer of red like a heartbeat against the cavern wall. It wasn't light in any ordinary sense, it felt physical, radiating pressure, bending sound. In the flicker of that glow, the explorers saw the shape of a gate, wider than the cavern itself, made of shifting metal that seemed to breathe. Symbols ran across it like veins of molten silver, and at its base stood a figure. Itat, no face, only a blank surface like unfinished clay, yet its posture was human-tired. Ancient, the explorers felt compelled to approach, though their bodies screamed to stop. The faceless figure raised a hand, and the red glow pulsed harder, drawing them closer. Then it spoke, without sound, its words appearing inside their minds like memories they didn't own. You filmed your descent. You carried your witnesses with you. Now they will see. In that instant, all their cameras turned on simultaneously, recording from impossible angles. The gate opened not outward or inward, but through folding reality like paper. On the footage, later recovered by a search team, the explorers were seen walking into the light, their bodies dissolving into static, as if being But in the final frame, one camera caught the faceless figure looking directly at the lens, and this time it had eyes, hundreds of them, each one showing a different viewer's reflection. The recording ended there. Yet days later, the footage uploaded itself online under a new title, exploring the most cursed part of hell. It appeared on channels that didn't exist, played on devices that were turned off, and occasionally whispered to those who dared to watch the entire thing. Keep watching. You're almost in. Now, the legend has spread beyond the lost explorers. People claim that viewing the full video causes screens to flicker with faces they've never seen before. Some say their devices start recording at night, capturing faint sounds, footsteps, murmurs, breathing. A few have reported receiving notifications for live streams that vanish the moment they click. Experts dismiss it as digital folklore, but the original footage keeps resurfacing in new forms, each slightly different, as if evolving. In one version, the gate opens wider. In another, the faceless figure stands closer to the camera. And in the most recent upload, the reflection visible in its blank face looks suspiciously like the viewer's own. Internet historians, occultists, and cybersecurity analysts have all tried to track its source, but every time they trace the data, the path leads back to non-existent servers buried under expired domains. It's as if the video doesn't come from the internet, it feeds on Italiano. The boundaries between file and viewer blur, and some nights, when bandwidth surges for no reason, users swear they hear faint whispers in their headphones, words barely caught between static. This is how hell expands. They close their browsers, restart their routers, turn off their lights, but the whisper stays, faint, yet patient, as if waiting for the moment they look back at their screens. You might think that's only a story, something built for clicks and sleepless nights. But look closely every time someone watches the cursed footage. One more version of it appears somewhere new. It learns. It remembers who watched. And somewhere, deep inside that unseen architecture of light and code, a gate opens again, a fraction wider each time, pulsing like a living wound. Maybe the explorers never truly died. Maybe they became the servers themselves, echoing forever through networks that don't end. Or maybe hell isn't beneath us at all, it's behind every screen, waiting for eyes to unlock it. If you feel your screen pulse softly while reading this, don't worry. It's just a residual signal. Just data echoing through your device. Unless, of course, you start hearing the whisper. If you do, don't answer it. Don't answer it. It means you've already started exploring the most cursed part of hell, and it has begun exploring you in return. Low, slow whisper, keep watching. If the signal follows you after this story, do not turn off your screen. Let it finish what it started. But if you want to see how deep the gate truly goes, click into the next nightmare waiting on this channel. The one the explorers left behind.